Lovely to see so many people. And as I say, if you've not been on for a while, you might want to pop in chat who you are and where you're joining us from. But we'll press on and start by talking to Soph and Dan, who are responsible for the QUOB Festival, which I believe it's in its second year now. Is that right, Sophia? Do you want to come off mute? And we've got some slides to accompany this.
Okay.
So yeah, Sophia, tell us about QUOB. You've done it once, and it was so much fun. You're doing it again.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah. I'm Soph Minden. I'm one half of QUOB. I'll let Dan introduce himself. He's my partner in life and in crime. I make events about really popular topics like anti-racism, death, and experimental music, I guess. And QUOB is one of them. I'll let Dan say a little bit more about him, and then we'll tell you a bit about QUOB and what it's all about.
Thank you. Hello, Dan.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm Dan. So in our second year, I do a bit of web programming, and then I'm also just gone back to uni to do a degree in music again, PhD in music. And we're loving the QUOB. So yeah, I'm back to Soph. Thank you for having us. This is fantastic already. Yeah. I'm loving everything that you're doing.
Thank you. We love
it is mega. Yeah, CACN is absolutely mega. It is lovely to see you all, and from all over the country as well, all with roots to Cumbria. It's great. So QUOB, what is it about? Well, first I'll tell you what QUOB means. It is a real word. It's not an acronym. It means a throbbing or boggy place, boggy or marshy place, or a right heap of mess, which kind of sums up a little bit about what it's all about. It takes place at Felfoot Woods, which is an amazing independent venue in the woods by the shores of Windermere, kind of down the bottom between sort of Windermere and Ulverston. Last year we did one night. We'll show you a little bit about last year in a mo. It exists because we like things that are kind of on the fringe, and we love to see people who are being brave, trying new things, experimenting, and this really is just a platform for that. We like to let people come along and share things that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but is definitely ours. At the minute, we've got an open call on, and that's going beautifully. We've had some wonderful submissions, and that's one of the reasons why we're here, is to let you know that there is opportunity. If you've got stuff that you like to do that might be a day job, fantastic if it is, but if it isn't, then please do let us know. We are open to all kinds of weird and wonderful things. We did one night last year. This year it's a 2-night affair on a Friday. Starts on Friday the 17th of July. Music starts at about 6 o'clock. Runs. It's not a late night thing. Runs until about midnight, and then starts again the next day. Stuff out in the woods from about 12 till, well, onwards. And then the music again starts at about 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale. If you'll see what it's about in a moment, and if it's your jam, great. They are on sale. It's 55 quid for 2 nights, including the camping, 28 quid for a day. There's food available on site. You can bring your own beers. Very, very relaxed affair. And it's absolutely 100% not for profit. It's simply here because we want to do it, and we want to, make some space.
So you're looking for people you're compiling the program, and the call out is for people to become part of that. So you've already got Beyonce booked as a headliner, presumably.
Yeah, she's in. Yeah. She loves it. She comes every year. No, this is last year's lineup. Yeah. Some you'll know. Some are from around here. Dan's really good at genres and knowing what the names of things are. So maybe, Dan, do you want to do a little bit about what kind of stuff there was?
Well, I can try. I think having worked in a record shop for a lot of years, I was good at sort of stacking the CDs into the right compartments. So I do like my genres. So I suppose who have we got in there? We've got Jack McNeil, who's Cumbrian. He's based in Kendal. He's
quite well known to us. He's
great, isn't he? Yeah, I thought I'd start with someone that you know. So maybe, I would describe him as jazz, really. But I know he skirts around classical and ambient and all sorts of stuff, doesn't he? He's fantastic, and he was mesmerising there. Death Disco, the main. There's two guys in that. They are, I would say, DIY punk techno, and one of the guys, Sam Kerridge, is quite well known in the techno scene and puts on a lot of sort of experimental nights out in Berlin as well, or festivals really, internal. Dog Show, how would we describe them? They are ones that push a cart. They're two dogs dressed as poodles, and they push a cart around and have essentially the sound system in this massive cart and play drums, electronic drums, and it's sort of like synth pop-y stuff, and they just encourage everyone to dance, really. It's just a real big party thing, and the venue is such a great space, and it's they've got like shutters as well, so we managed to wheel them into the venue through these big shutters, and then they I think the two brothers, they're having an internal sort of dispute between themselves, and one dog pushed the other dog up the hill. So it's fantastic to see that play out.
It's worth attending just for that act, I think.
Yeah, they were great. Cops is from Manchester, techno thing. Samay is I would describe her as experimental cellist. Experimental sort of classical. She plays a lot of field recordings and layering things. She's up in Glasgow. Hartwood Institute. He's based in where is he? Is he out?
I think he's West Cumbria. I think
West Cumbria. Yeah.
Yeah. Mega. Really mega.
He was absolutely fantastic, wasn't he? What was? Yeah, I can't think what we would describe him as. You've put me on the spot here. Have
I?
It's all right. We don't.
Lee Patterson is a genius.
Yeah, they're all great. I think what we love is we're not restricted by genre. We just want the people that have got their heart into doing things that they really believe into, and just supporting that. So we made sure that everyone was well paid and supported, and that was
we used the word well loose, I would say, but that's a brave word. Well, people got paid. Everyone got paid, but well paid might be a stretch.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we've got a video which gives a bit of a flavour of last year's event, don't we? Iron has to
2 seconds, just got to switch.
Shares. Still people coming through the door.
Next to the scrapyard, there was always this strange.
Yes, we could have a competition of how many of those people can you name. Spotted Jack McNeil in there and Raymer. Have you got any confirmed headliners for this year that we should know about?
Yeah, we do, as it goes. You explain about Hello Cat Food, everyone's favourite.
Yeah, Hello Cat Food. He's based in Birmingham. He is well known in the algo rave scene, which is algorithms and live coding. And so they'll be using their laptop, and but you'll see the code on in the background so you can see like how the sound is being constructed. So it's trying to extract the sound from the laptop and to create a visual of representation of that, so you can see them in real time. But he's absolutely fantastic. He's played, I think, the last festival he was at Mappings Festival in Sweden. He said he'd just come back from, and he does a lot of visualizations as well. So we're hoping he'll bring his visualization synths and things to accompany it, because he's absolutely amazing. And when we were chatting to him, he's such an amazing guy, sort of, again, bringing everyone together. And we asked him if he had people that he, would want to play with and things like that. And he sent us a massive list of really amazing people as well. That there's so many people out there doing so many great things. And I think one of the things that we've tried to decide to do is try to, even though you can get the same people back again, is we'd really like to support new people and to keep platforming new people. And
Lionel, very enthusiastic in chat, says be very exciting even if it rains, which it might in July in the South Lakes. There's always an outside
absolutely might. The venue is covered, which is fantastic. There's indoor and outdoor covered space, so rain or shine, it will be happening. And if you want to come along either as artist or punter, like the price includes the camping and all the rest of it as well. It's an incredible place to camp as well. Barry, it's amazing, right in the woods. It's 10 out of 10. It's absolutely 10 out of 10.
So if you've already responded in chat to Amy's inquiry about whether you're looking for spoken word artists, so not
anything and everything. We should have made that clear. It is, obviously, we're heavy on the music. That's our, that's kind of who we are and a big part of what it's about, but it isn't just about music. Last year we had some experimental films shared, some spoken word. We had walks out in the woods, talks about trees. If something's, if someone's really into a thing, normally that's when it's the best, isn't it? The most interesting people are the people who are interested. So that could be anything. Send us stuff. We're all ears and eyes and arms.
And it's just disappeared, but so your deadline for applying is the 3rd of June. So people have got another week or so to get their bids in. And you say tickets are now on sale? Did you say?
They are. I think we might not have pressed the actual go button, but certainly within the next hour and a half, those tickets will be on sale after we come off this call. They will be. And any support getting the word out, even if this isn't your thing, please do. Oh, Pete's got a hand up. That's fun.
I was just going to ask, could you put the email address in the
pop it in chat and
yes, you can camp in a van. Yes, I'll pop the email address in. I'll do all the deetsy bits. So my mum and dad are arriving. That my mum's getting a haircut here at 10 a.m. So I'll just in case you wonder what's happening in the background.
Right. A haircut's going to be available at QUOB.
I'd love that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, an immersive piece around haircuts. Sounds good.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I should also just mention you were on the Friday CACN call a little while ago because you're also involved in the Sondering, to another kind of a festival. Just remind us what that is and how's that going?
Lovely. Oh, thank you. The Sondering is taking place in Rydal in September 18th to the 21st. It's been created around death, dying and grief, ultimately asking the question, can exploring mortality creatively, communally and consciously bring us closer to life and each other? It's been a very, very busy time. It's just me and my sister making that, but the lineup is coming together absolutely beautifully. That's a camping festival. So please check that out as well. The sonderingfestival.co.uk is the website, and you can find us on Insta as well.
Okay, Zosha has a question, I think. Oh, you're on mute. There we go.
Sorry. No, it wasn't a question. I was just going to suggest something for you for that festival. I don't know if you've seen Broken Chords, but that's a small thing that's been got together by a couple whose son died, but it's actually a love story about the marriage and how they dealt with the grief. It sounds perfect. It's
Do you know, I think we might have an email from them.
yeah.
So
Well,
it does ring a bell. It does ring a bell.
yeah. It's Kirsty Pellin and Matthew Wicks, and it's called
Right.
Broken Chords. If you Google Broken Chords, you'll find it. I really recommend it. I went to see it, and they're still kind of developing it. So,
Okay,
yeah, it just
great.
sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, Usher.
Yeah, they also featured on this call a little while ago, and I saw it in Kendal. It's a fantastic show. You could strongly recommend. I think they've got a couple more coming up in Lancaster and Kirby Stephen, if I remember rightly, sort of towards the end over the next kind of 2, 3, 4 weeks. So other opportunities to catch it. But yeah, I
Thank
think
you, and thanks for
fitting
the
very nicely.
endorsement as well. It's always really helpful when people have seen things, isn't it?
Yeah, great idea. Anybody else got questions about QUOB or sondering? Excellent. Thank you very much, Sophie and Dan. Lovely to hear from you, and all the best with all of those endeavours. Do come back and tell us how it's gone. I think we'll move on now to Paul, because Dave, speaker's name, and he appears.
Perfect timing.
Dave Camlin's been fulfilling his duties as an academic, dealing with a QT, I believe.
Sorry,
That's quite all right.
I'll get out of my office in a second.
Are you good to go plunge straight in, Dave? I mean,
Yeah,
just
just give me a second. I'm still got my I've still got my work. I'm still in my work office. Hang on a minute. Where am I going to
It's
be?
all right. Relaxing while you're doing that. For those who don't know him, Dave is a multifaceted Renaissance man, mostly in the music area. He teaches, he does academic research. He is part of an amazing vocal quartet called Mouthful, and he runs a couple of community choirs in West Cumbria. And he is also a prime mover behind the Cumberlandia Festival, which is what we're mostly going to be talking about today, which is a lovely boutique festival, which is now on its 3rd year, based at Rivendell, which is this amazing site just outside of Workington. Again, a lovely sort of woodland setting, but with a permanent marquee and cabin, and the Glade stage, which is this lovely wooden performance and seating area. Dave is now in a different virtual location, and perhaps can tell us more. So yes, Dave, just for those who don't know, give us a brief taste of the concept of Cumberlandia.
I mean, Cumberlandia it came out of Solfest to an extent. So a lot of us were involved in setting up Solfest 20 years ago. And at the start of Solfest, it was always meant to be like, an opportunity to bring people together, a chance for community celebration. And it became a much bigger beast than we were expecting it to be. And gradually over time, people kind of, dropped out of that. And so by the time, and it's a real shame that Solfest closed last year, but by the time it had closed, none of us that were involved at the start had stayed the course with it. But Joanne and Olwyn Braniff, who were on the original Solfest committee, Olwyn really got involved because he loved building things. So what they set about, actually, I can show some pictures, couldn't I? Should I share some? I'll give you while I'm talking, so you're not just looking at me. I'll let me share my screen. I can show you. Oh, I have to send request.
Okay, yeah, I think you should be in now.
I'll just show you the website as I'm talking.
Great things happening in Cumbria are.
Sorry, say again?
Yeah.
So these just give you an idea of the. Oh, actually, that's the site. Yeah. So Cumberland, Joanne and Olwyn's house is kind of just out of sight, kind of up here. But basically, over the last 10, 15 years, they've developed this land. They've let a lot of it go wild. and then they've developed it. There's a glade stage. See if I can find that. That's the glade stage. So this oak framed building with a grass roof. It's a beautiful space in the middle of the wood at the back there. Yeah, that's just been developed really lovely over the last 10 to 15 years and getting used more and more for events. So the Cumbria Nature Festival had their first festival gathering at the start of this month, just a few weeks ago. And it's a folk festival, so and we've kept it as a boutique festival. So we've decided that we're going to run it on temporary event notices. So there are never going to be any more than 500 people on site. So we sell about 250 tickets to the public, of which we have fewer than 20 remaining. And then there's a whole army of performers and stewards and crew and everybody helping out. And how we think of it is that, you know, it's bringing people together in a space outside of everyday life. With my academic hat on as well. There's Stefan. Hi, Stefan. Can you do that face for us, Stefan? With my academic hat on, a lot of the stuff I write about and research now is based around ideas of my most recent book is called Music Making and Civic Imagination, and it's the idea that simply that when we're making music, we're creating these spaces outside of everyday life where we can imagine the kind of world that we actually want to inhabit. So that's what we're trying to create with Cumberlandia. It's like a weekend outside of everyday life and the kind of the onslaught of capitalism into a place where real values and human values can be, you know, lived and experienced and be a resource that people can take back with them into their everyday lives outside of it.
Sophia, who we've just been talking to about the QUOB festival that they're into the second year of, is very much in sympathy with that smaller being better and deeper.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's and very, you know, much in keeping with environmental and ecological thinking around think global, act local. You know, that's how it's going to be difficult to change the world by overthrowing capitalism because it's really insidious. So the way we change the world is by changing the world within our reach, and I think that's what all artists are called on to do. That's what we all do, isn't it? I think.
So tell us about the village choir and people's opportunity to get involved.
Yeah, so the choir is a key part of the weekend. So we frame the weekend with a welcoming ceremony and with a closing ceremony as well. So we kind of mark the moment of people gathering together, and then we also mark the moment when people disperse as well, just to kind of, you know, help people make those connections. And this year in particular, it's about honouring the land. So the choir and some improvising musicians at the start of the festival will be creating an environment in the glade that people can participate in at the very outset, which is about listening to the natural world that exists, you know, that is there all the time before we take up residence for a weekend. I was just down on site this morning actually for the Dawn Chorus, collecting video and recordings of the amazing bird life that's down there at the moment. And so this year we're kind of emphasising, you know, the glade is still singing even when we're not there, and the natural world is still singing even when we're not there to hear it. So the idea is that we want to welcome people into the space at the outset, and the choir is forming a part of that, of being a way of welcoming people into the space, but also acknowledging the land on which we're partying, as a way of living more sustainably and more harmoniously with that land. And then again at the end of the festival, we draw people together. There's a big village green area where we've got a huge willow sculpture that Phil Bradley made with us, of the tree person, which is our kind of logo, you know, the humans and nature connected. And the idea is at the end of the festival, we lead everybody onto the village green, everybody who's on site. We have a big spiral dance led by loads of musicians playing Breton music, and everybody gets involved, and then we sing a load of songs to send us on our way, including folk songs like Rolling Home, but also John Lennon's Imagine is going to feature this year. So just leading everybody in, sing-alongs of uplifting songs that help to keep the spirit of Cumberlandia and the spirit of that kind of thing alive. So we've got some Arts Council funding for the next 2 years. So we're running some free singing workshops in the run-up to the festival, so that anybody who's coming to the festival can come and learn some of these songs for the start, to be part of the welcome ceremony, to be part of the closing ceremony. We're involved in the Imagine Choir. So the Imagine Choir was set up with everyone here to sing the John Lennon song at the Imagine Festival recently. So that their next project has been to come and get involved in this as well and be part of the closing ceremony as well. But really, anybody can, everybody's welcome to come and sing. If you haven't got, if you're not going to the festival yet, there are still just about 20 tickets left. And even if you just want to come and sing, and can't necessarily make the whole of the festival, we're happy to people to come and be part of the choir and just come on site to sing and then disappear again. So we're trying to make everything as accessible as we can.
Tell us a bit more about the workshops then. Have we got when and where is the next one? And
in fact, and Iona has very kindly posted the link to the website, but I'll just share it here as well because I can't remember off the top of my head. So there is a page in our community pages. So the village choir. These are the dates. So we had our first one last night at the settlement, and then meeting again on Tuesday at Florence Arts Centre, and then June 14th at the Carnegie, Whitehaven Library, one in Cockermouth, and then Carnegie. Then we've got our kind of dress rehearsal at Rivendell.
And there's some original music being composed for that, isn't there?
Yeah, no. So this year, the first three pieces. So yeah, the welcome ceremony. There are three pieces, three new works that we're bringing out for that. One of them is a song that our bass player in Bitterbeck, Cathy Grout, has written, called "The Song of the Glade," which is where we got the line. It's the song that the glade sings when none of us are here. And then there's a second song which is highlighting natural intelligence as an alternative to artificial intelligence. So, rather than the speed and efficiency of artificial intelligence, we're inviting people to consider the depth and the strength of natural intelligence and the intelligence that's inherent in the natural world. And then the third work is an arrangement that I've made of some of the words of a brilliant writer, Braden Sweetgrass, which is called
Robin Wall Kimmerer.
Robin Wall Kimmerer. So it's a setting of some of Robin Wall Kimmerer's words. The land knows you even when you are lost. So that's that's the idea of the choir, is to help frame people's experience. So it's an artistic experience from the start. It's not just coming to see lots of bands. I mean, it is. There's lots of great bands, and we've got Chris Drever come in, we've got Merry Hell come in, we've got Lady Maisry as headliners, as well as the point of Cumberlandia as well is to showcase local original folk musicians, and not just at the festival, but in other events and things that we're organising. In fact, this Saturday we've got the second of our series of Folk in the Forest events up at Winlatter. So Winlatter up in the Cafe Ambio in the Winlatter Forest. If the heat wave arrives, which we're hoping it will, then we'll be out on the veranda. So it's like a folk club, under the trees in the Winlatter Forest. That's happening on Saturday. We've got the wonderful singer-songwriter Anne-Marie Sanderson with us, and a fantastic local band, the Celandines, are playing as well. So Cumberlandia is a weekend, but the what we're aspiring to is about supporting the development of local original folk artists and at every level. The choirs are very much part of that as well. So we're trying to foster a culture and an ecology and a community of participation and creativity.
Fantastic. Aren't we lucky to have the spread of festivals that we have in Cumberland? Cumbria, in fact, in general. And there's a new one starting at Moncaster as well this year, isn't there? So
Yeah.
some of all that Solfest has fallen by the wayside. And I know some of the bigger festivals are having difficulties, but it seems that the more sort of boutique, accessible, immersive experience is starting to thrive, which is excellent. Dan's lovely comment about turning your feet into ears, which I think we could all get behind. Brilliant.
No, yes, yeah, pulling our house. Yeah.
Anybody got any questions for Dave on the back of that? Is everybody rushing off to try and secure one of those last 20 tickets for the weekend? So that's the last full weekend in July, isn't it? Cumberlandia Festival. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Dave. Do hang around, because I think you may be interested in what Paul Frodsham has to tell us about Cumbria's stone circles. Paul, hello. Paul, you are an archaeologist. We're not against ologies here. But you have in mind a very ambitious thing that you want to be doing in Cumbria in the not too distant future.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. I'm just trying to do this screen share again. So you've probably got my entire screen in front of you now, have you?
We're sort of seeing ourselves back at the moment.
It says I'm screen sharing.
You are.
Am I?
Yes, but you're sharing. Oh, this is looking promising. There we go. Sacred circles.
So everybody can see that now?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So we got about 10 minutes, some pictures to look at for 10 minutes or so. So working as an independent consultant, I've been appointed by the Cumberland and Westmoreland Antiquarian Archaeological Society to see whether we can pull off a big project, and I mean hundreds of thousands of pounds over several years, looking at these fantastic ancient monuments. So and you see what I call it there, a community project to study and celebrate the great Neolithic monuments of Cumbria, because I don't want it to be just an archaeological thing. I would love it to include a whole range of I don't know, I use the term arty stuff, and I realize that might offend people, but I don't know what the correct term is to use, so I may use the word arty stuff. You know what I mean. So I put a few pictures together just to give you a bit of background. I've done quite a lot of work in Northern England, including in Cumbria over the years, and almost all of it is based on community work. So professional archaeologists working with local people as volunteers, and I firmly believe that's the best way to do archaeology. In passing, that volume on the right, Abstractions Based on Circles, is completely free download. So if you just search for it, if you're interested in these ancient Neolithic carvings, you can get that and have a read of it for free. And I've said quite a lot in that about what I think these old carvings might be all about. Here's the most boring slide you've probably ever seen, but just to get this out of the way before we look at some pictures.
Sorry to interrupt, Paul. Pete's saying he's not seeing the shared screen. Is anybody else experiencing difficulties? I'm seeing it fine. Yeah.
Obviously, I can't tell because all I can see is this screen in front of me.
Yeah. But I can't see everybody.
Fine for me.
Okay, it's just my computer then.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
Pete.
Yeah.
Do carry on, Paul.
Sorry, I hope you enjoy listening to it, but it's not the same without the pictures. So very, very quickly, this is going to be a big project with loads of partners, the best people working together with local volunteers. I mean, I've done these projects before, and we have hundreds of local people working. We're going to have a brilliant website to pull it all together as a kind of a hub for it. We've done a scoping study, which was very wide-ranging, which was completed last year. We're now in what I'm calling a planning phase, which is due for completion this summer. And then we hope to apply for a development grant from the lottery, have a development phase during 2027, leading to a delivery phase from 28. We're looking at various funding options, but I think it's fair to say that a big lottery grant is going to be essential, and other funding sources will work around that. Important archaeological research, because these monuments, we're not about destroying their mystery of them at all. Indeed, I always say you can study these places. I study them on two different levels. One is a kind of places that make me happy and I enjoy being at, and that's fine. but at the same time, they are an archaeological puzzle and a scientific puzzle, and we can find out more about them. And it's the fact that those two things go together, I think, that makes this potentially such an exciting project.
Paul, sorry to interrupt again. Do you want to just click the hide on? There's a little thing that's telling you that you are sharing the screen, and we don't want you to stop.
Sorry.
Then we can see all of it. Fantastic.
Sorry, I'd never seen that before. That must be a new development in Zoom. So there's all sorts of exciting things that we want to do. And maybe that linked activities bit is the most relevant today. I would love to see a whole load of events worked in, not as optional extras added in there, but as an integral part of the project from the start. So that's the boring slide out of the way. I guess many of you will be familiar with Matt Turner's work. He gave me permission to use a few of his pictures, his fantastic pictures, helping to develop this project because he loves stone circles. And if I'm looking to inspire people, as I suppose I am looking to inspire you today, to in turn inspire me back with all your ideas, then can't do much better than look at some of his pictures. Indeed, I don't want to talk about them. Just look at them. Absolutely brilliant. That's Castlereagh on the left and Swinside on the right. And that's Long Meg, which is the site of all of them that I'm most familiar with, having done work there. I suppose those are the three main sites. I don't know whether you're all familiar with them, but they all potentially could be sites where we could do lots of really interesting work.
How many stone circles are there in Cumbria?
That's a good question, and it's one that's very difficult to answer because what is a stone circle? There's all sorts of different monuments that are kind of circular that aren't kind of stone circles, but the big ones, I would say, probably a dozen really big special sites in varying states of condition, but also dozens and dozens of smaller ones as well. So as ever with these this subject, answering what appear to be simple questions is not as simple as you might think. I'll say a bit more about other sites in a moment. There's some more conventional views of the same three sites. The one of Long Meg with the carvings, I think probably fair to say the earliest art, if indeed we can call it art, but that's another subject for an hour-long lecture one day. The carvings on Long Meg, which are amazing. And again, I say those are the three main sites at all of which we hope to do archaeological fieldwork. And I love old photographs, so I dropped that one in. I think there's scope for something really simple, like collecting all the old photographs, historic photographs that we have of these sites, and then trying to recreate them using modern techniques. That's again Castlereagh and Long Meg. So I'm just giving you a flavour of the kind of thing we could do. Here's another boring slide. We're looking, I think, at three core areas. And within those areas, we won't just look at stone circles. We'll look at the entire archaeological landscape. But you've got, I did call them west, north, and east. And then I realised that the east area was north of the north one. So that wasn't really appropriate. So I changed them. Those are just the names I'm using at the moment. And we'll have a look at some of the other sites shortly. But that's not to exclude work in other places. That's just saying those are the key areas where I think we would be looking to do most of our field work. And hey, who was it who said? Bridget. Looking at Greycroft from, I promise I didn't drop this slide in after I saw you said that, it was already in. It's something that really intrigues me, the whole development of the landscape after the stone circle at Greycroft. But also in the southwest, you may or may not know about, there have been a lot of what we call crop mark sites discovered recently. And up on the top right there, you can see it's basically a ploughed flat field. But that photograph shows you some big circular ditches with some little dots inside, and the dots are almost certainly going to be where standing stones have stood or big timber posts. So those look like a whole kind of new range of Neolithic monuments of the same general period as the stone circles, and none of them have been investigated archaeologically yet at all. It's also an area where we know there were at least 3 big stone circles that have been destroyed over the last 200 or 300 years. So there's loads of really interesting work that can be done down in that area. Just to say a few words about Long Meg, which is the site that I am most familiar with, having worked there. having run excavations there with Durham University and the Altogether Archaeology community group. As ever with these sites, when you look at them, there's a lot more than just some standing stones. At Long Meg, bottom left there, you can see, I hope, that all the way around the farm is a huge, great big earthwork enclosure, ploughed flat now, but clearly there on the ground, in the ground, and that we know is older than the stone circle. And we did a whole load of survey work, and we did 3 very small little excavation trenches, and those 3 little trenches found so much information, and that demonstrates the potential that we have for doing this kind of work at other sites as well, and indeed more of it at Long Meg. If you're interested, please have a look at friendsoflongmeg.com, which is a website that we set up a couple of years ago to illustrate the work that was being done, the work that we've done at Long Meg and other places as well. I haven't done very much with it over the last year or so. We need to do more, but if you're interested in stone circles, I think you'll find that interesting. And if you're really, really interested, please sign up as a friend of Long Meg, because the more friends we have, the more chance we've got of getting money for for more work. This is just a slide I dropped in. LiDAR. We use LiDAR imagery all the time now in archaeology. It's just a completely new way of looking at the landscape, and I think there must be potential there for arts-related work as well. In this completely different way, you can look at the landscape and take out the trees and just look at the bare bones of the land, and you can see all sorts of archaeological earthworks showing up there. So that's just another idea of something that might be possible to do. And we did a geological survey of the stones at Long Meg, again with volunteers and with professional geologists. And I don't know how many times I've walked around that site, but I'd never trigged before that if you take the not physically take it off, because you can't, you'd be breaking the law, but if you in your mind's eye, if you remove all the lichen and the weathering from the surface of the stones, the vast majority of them are green. And I think this introduces interesting kind of ideas and concepts of color in prehistory and how people thought about stone and color. And of course, what Cumbria is most famous for in Neolithic studies, apart from stone circles, is the axe factories at Langdale. And those axes that come from Langdale and went around what at the time was the known world are also green. And on one of the stones at Long Meg on the top right, there are amazing natural patterns, not carvings, which really look like axes. And the color of those is exactly the same as the green color of the stone axes. So, you know, these just ideas and the kind of thing that I hope will appeal to artists who get ideas for doing other things. And here's another of Matt Turner's brilliant photographs. There is no doubt that these stone circles include, how should we say it, alignments to the sky. Not because they're great big computers for predicting eclipses or any of that nonsense, but just because people in those days saw a lot of the sky more than we do, and it was part of everything, the interconnectedness of everything. And so when these monuments were built, Long Meg, for example, is aligned on the winter solstice sunset. And after doing our geological survey, it's quite ridiculous to put my untidy sketch of the stones of Long Meg next to that fantastic photograph. But we can use computers now. We can do surveys of the sites, and we can use computer software to basically recreate the night sky on any day, any time of any day or night, of 5000 BC or 3000 BC or whenever we want to do it. So that's going to be a great thing to play with as part of the project. And we may come up with other discoveries as well in terms of what were the significant alignments to people. And again, the big sites have other sites nearby. So Long Meg, not very far away, is Little Meg, and Little Meg also has some of these incredible carvings, concentric circles and spirals, which I have to say link very closely with Ireland. This is Irish rock art, and it demonstrates the links between, I mean, the monuments do as well, but it demonstrates the links between Cumbria and Ireland at this time, which were very great, because the Irish Sea was not a barrier. It was kind of like the people talk about the Irish Sea province, and it all linked together by sea transport. And that's another site where we could do some work. And I said it's not all stone circles. I guess most of you I hope you've been to Maybury. If you haven't, you should. This huge, great big henge monument just at Emont Bridge, just south of Penrith. There's one standing stone survives in the middle. There were several. It's the same size as Long Meg, more or less, inside this vast space with just an unbelievable amount of boulders, stones heaped up around it. Again, I think it's an Irish type monument. It's from the same general period as the stone circles. And last year there was a small scale excavation led by Richard Bradley, who's one of our most brilliant archaeologists. And there's a picture of me. Now you can see the pathetic pile of stones that I've moved. That was hard work. That was very hard work, just moving that number of stones. And I used to stick my head out of that hole and look around and look at all the stones around the edge and just think how much effort has gone into building this place. Why did people do it? It's absolutely phenomenal. So Maybury is a site that we definitely will be featuring in some way within the project. And finally, I think the last slide is Shap. Maybe people don't think of Shap as being one of these great megalithic centres, but it was. There is an old illustration showing a great big avenue of huge standing stones, and there's one stone circle there at Kemp Howe, and there are other stone circles in the immediate vicinity. And as a complex, it has been quite extraordinary, but most of the stone, the vast majority of the stones have been smashed or dragged away in the name of agricultural improvement. But using modern techniques, and there's all sorts of modern techniques. I call it witchcraft because I don't really understand them, but there are all sorts of techniques we can use to try and recreate this landscape, and that's something that we want to try and do as well. So that's the lot. I'm not sure if that was 10 minutes. I wasn't timing it. That's another of Matt's brilliant photographs of another site that isn't one of our absolute key sites, but one where we might do some work on Mordivuk. So I hope that that's of interest to many, if not all of you. But my question to you is, how can we develop a program of arts-related work to involve hundreds of local people to run alongside the archaeological work we want to do? And I hope that one or two of you or more might have some ideas that we can talk about. Thank you.
I think from the responses in chat, more than one or two. Lots of enthusiasm for everything you've been talking about, Paul.
That's good.
And lots of existing sort of engagement with monuments. Dave, I happen to know Dave's put a link to a YouTube. I'm not sure whether that was Maybury. Dave has an oven-ready anthem called These Stones Sing, which he's already written about monuments.
Am I still sharing, by the way? Have I stopped sharing?
Yes, you are.
Well, that's probably embarrassing. What else is on my screen?
Okay.
Have I stopped now?
Yes, you have.
Oh,
yeah.
God. So I haven't seen any of those comments because I couldn't see them when I was doing that. So
no. Okay.
Do you want to talk through them?
But yeah, lots of people very excited about these monuments. But just very second, what period were these monuments created in? What sort of dates are we talking about?
Well, I mean, again, until we did this work at Long Meg, none of them were dated, so it was guesswork. And we have to be careful about using a couple of dates that we got from Long Meg to talk about all the stone circles being of the same period, because I personally think Long Meg was built over generations, so it wasn't, nobody designed it. And if you go to that Friends of Long Meg site, there's a link there somewhere to a video which was a lecture I gave about it, and I talk about the idea that these were not like modern sites. People didn't design a plan and build them like a modern architect would. These were built over generations, I think, and it was the building of them that was as important as the end result. I don't know how that relates to kind of ideas of doing art as well, but it's the doing that matters. It's the building of it. It's the people coming together to build the things that is in many ways the most important thing. And yes, of course, you get a fantastic thing at the end of it, but whether anybody at the start had a view of what these things might look like at the end, whatever that was, I don't know. But in general terms, if you said for the big stone circles 5,000 years ago, you wouldn't be far wrong. So the dates we got for Long Meg were about 3,100, but they were just from one stone. So it's quite possible they were built over centuries. You know, the whole thing was built over centuries. Okay. But you say, yeah, if we said 3,000 BC, you wouldn't be far wrong.
Okay. Now, so what are the next steps? How do people? So you're looking for to assemble a raft of creative activity ideas, I guess, to be able to weave into future funding bids and to contribute to fleshing out this project. What's the next steps?
Okay,
how
so
do
the
people
next step,
contribute?
the next kind of stages, I have to write a report for this planning phase. I'd like to get that done over the next month or two. I think it was meant to be done by end of April, but hey, who cares? These things don't matter. It was never going to get done by then. So I would love to include at this stage just a whole load of ideas as to how it might work. And then if we get into the development phase, a fully costed, funded development phase, that's when people can be paid to develop plans to take them forward to the delivery phase. The development phase will last for a year. Could last for 2 years, but I don't want it to. I think it would last for 1 year. I have to say, I can't promise any of this is going to happen. I don't want people to get too excited.
I think we all know about funding processes.
Yeah, but we have had encouraging signs from the main key funders who we're talking to, and we also have support from English Heritage, Historic England, and the kind of the key people who will be responsible for giving consents and things like that. Also, I need to say we haven't really discussed anything in great detail with landowners, and that's another issue that will have to be done at some stage. So, we're way off starting a project. But the purpose of me being here today is to see whether we can get this idea of artistic. Sorry, there must be a better word than stuff, arty stuff. But anyway, to get it in from the start, so it really is about studying and celebrating.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure how. That's why I'm talking to you. Really, what's the best way? How do I get sort of a couple of pages of A4 of possibilities?
Well, I think if you're happy to put your email into chat, you will get more than a couple of pages of A4 just from those present at the moment, and we'll also publicise it further through CACN website and newsletters. Yeah, Dave Camlin's putting in songs in the chat already. As Bridget, I think, mentioned, you probably ought to be.
There's all this. Sorry, sorry. Does all this chat get saved as part of the?
Yes, yeah, I can certainly forward it all to you. And
yeah, that would be very useful, please, because I can see there's 45 messages in there, so I didn't see them as they were coming in, so I need to have a look at them.
Yeah, as Bridget mentioned, I think you'd need to factor in an artistic coordinator in the project plans.
That's exactly the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Yes, within the development phase. I mean, there's going to be no funding for that until we get to the development phase. But within the development phase, yes, I think that's exactly what I would like to see happen. So somebody takes responsibility for talking to everybody else and produces a costed plan.
Yeah. Yes, and as sorry, Stefan has pointed out, anybody can save the chat while the call is still going.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about it. But if you can keep it and email it to me, then that would be great.
Certainly, yeah. And I would have thought there's a pretty strong possibility that Arts Council England would be able to provide some funding towards the artistic and cultural side of this whole enterprise.
That would be a bonus, because obviously we need as much, even if a lot of the artistic work was done funded by the lottery, to have some money from somewhere else as match funding is crucial.
And I think the local authorities are also quite supportive of this, broadly cultural activity as well. So it'd be worth talking to them. We're approaching the end point of this call. Has anybody got any urgent questions for Paul? Can't see everybody, just shout up. But yeah, loads of responses in the chat. Thank you so much, Paul. Absolutely fascinating.
Can you circulate my email to everybody? I'm quite happy for you to do it.
Our owner can pop that in.
I'm just thinking whether if I put it in now and there's only 2 minutes left, no one will get it off the one if you can't get it the chat once it's over.
And they can
I'll tell everybody. Paul Frodsham, all one word. Paul Frodsham, no dots, dashes. Paul Frodsham @hotmail.com.
Okay.
I can include it in the newsletter next week.
Yeah,
so
that's what
then-
I was. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
We can
When does the newsletter go out?
Wednesday.
Oh, right. Okay. No, great. Well, that would be ideal. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you could ask people if they have any particular comments, maybe to get back to me. What's reasonable? The end. Is the end of this week reasonable? Or is that too soon?
We could create an opportunity page as well on the website as well,
Okay.
pointing people to you and the project.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for all your enthusiastic responses, even though I haven't seen them yet.
Okay. Wonderful, lovely call. Exciting festivals, exciting, massive project in prospect. Anybody got anything that's happening this weekend apart from Folk in the Forest that Dave's already mentioned that people might want to know about and get to? I'm off across the border. Oh, Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, I've just put in the chat. There's a Roman Day in Carlisle tomorrow, with based around the Tully. So guided tours of the shows. They've got Gladiator show and the Carlisle Cricket Club Dig show, and there'll be activities, making things, and people dressed as soldiers wandering around and building an altar in Green Square, I think it's called, outside the Guildhall.
Yeah, splendid.
Lots of things to get to join in with there.
Chris, just a shout out for our next Creative Crack event, which is next Thursday evening at Tully in Carlisle. It's basically just a get together. It is aimed at younger people, but anybody is welcome, and it's just 3 hours of creative people hanging out at Tully and talking about stuff. And we're going to be doing like a little pop-up zine making session. And the clincher is that your first drink from the cafe is free. So if that doesn't get you there, I don't know what will.
And it's just dropping. You don't have to be there for
Yep.
3 hours. Yeah, fantastic. Yes, thank you very much. Iona, thank you for keeping us on the rails technically through the whole thing. Lovely to see you all. Have fantastic weekends. I'm off across the border to the Spring Fling Open Studios event across Dumfries and Galloway for the next couple of days. So abandoning Cumbria temporarily. See you all next week, because Paul and Kate are still away, and we'll be looking at an exhibition that's coming up at Art Gene, among other things.